All right, this is Mr. McMurray. This morning we're going to look at do some profiling, not serial killer profiling. Sorry, nothing that exciting, and no racial profiling. That's a no-no. But we are going to do some profiling of contours. And what this is, if we have a topo map, we want to know what this would look like. Is it steep? Is it flat? So we want to make a picture of that. Kind of like if we sliced this mountain in half and looked at the side view, what would the side view look like? Would it be flat, steep? Where's this? More steep spots we want to stay away from, things like that. So first thing we do is draw a line where we're going to go on our hike, and then we would put a piece of scratch paper up against it. We would mark both edges. This one has an X, so we're going to put a little mark. Make sure you put a mark and then put X below it. And on this side we're going to put a little mark and then label it Y. Why are we going to do this? Because if you forget which side is which, you may end up going on the wrong side of the mountain. And you end up going up a very steep side when you think you're going down the other side. So very important that we get those straight. Then everywhere that a contour line runs into your line, we're going to make a little mark on your scratch paper. All right, and so there's quite a few places here where it hits. So we're going to have a total of, I believe, 11 of these little marks in our paper. So your scratch paper is going to have all these little marks in between the X and the Y. All right, if we line that back up, make sure everything lines up correctly. All right, we need to label these marks so we know what the elevation is. The only one that we can see the label on is a 0, so we're going to put a 0 right here. The next line has no mark. The third one, though, if we look underneath our paper, it's covering it up right now, it says it's 20-foot line. So the third line up here we're going to label as 20 feet. Now, if this contour line is 20 and this contour line, is 20, and this contour line is 0. Halfway between that is the other contour line, so it's going to be 10. All right, so that tells us our contour interval is going to be 10 feet for each one. Very good. So we have 0, 10, 20. The next one will be 30. The next one will be 40. And the next one will be 50. And about this time you're saying, oh, I got the hang of this, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Whoa, stop. That's not the way it happens. All right. If you look back here, this 50 line comes around and crosses the line again. So instead of going up to 60, that next line should just be another 50. All right. In effect, we've been going up a mountain. So we had 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and we're getting closer to the top. Now we hit the top 50, go over 50 a little bit, and now we're starting to go down. So it's going to be 50, 40, 30, 20, and going back down the other side of the mountain. All right. So the next one is 40. And if you notice, it does connect back to the 40 over here. The next line is going to be the 30 that connects back around. The next line is the same line as the 20 on the other side, and then we have a 10. We don't have a 0 on the Y side because the 0 line never comes around to that side. All right. Now, if we want to know the elevation for Y, we don't know exactly. We know it's less than 10, but there is no 0 line. The 0 line may be out here somewhere. So we know that Y is between 10 and 0 feet elevation. All right. On the other side for X, the same thing. We know it's less than 0, but the next line would be negative 10, and we don't know where it is. It might be real close to the X. It might be farther out here. So we just know that Y is between 0 and negative 10. All right. Any questions about that? All right. Now, once we've got that marked, since that doesn't tell me what it looks like much, but we're getting there. We're going to bring our paper over here and line up the X mark with the X end of the line over here and the Y with the Y on this side. That's very important. So once again, you get your directions correct. All right. We're going to need to make this a graph so we can kind of see what the elevation is. So we're going to put numbers on the side over here, just like a graph would have, that represent the elevation. And the lowest elevation we have is 0, lowest contour line. But we know that X is somewhere below 0, so we're going to start at the contour line below 0, which would be minus 10. So we're going to start with minus 10, and then it would come up 0, 10, and so forth. The highest number that we have is 50. But if you remember, we come up to 50, we go over 50, and come back down. So we're going to have to go up one line higher than the highest number. So when we make our elevations, we start one lower than the lowest, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then we have to go up to one higher than the highest number, so 60. So 60 is going to be our highest number up there. Alright? Now, we line this up with the bottom line. X needs to start right here at the beginning of this line. And we know that X, we said, is between 0 and negative 10. We don't know exactly where, but somewhere between 0 and negative 10, we're going to put a dot. We know that Y is between 0 and 10. So we're going to put a dot between 0 and 10 for Y. Those are our first dots. Then we're going to scoot up to the 0 line, because that's where our first hash mark is here. And we're going to, right above where it says 0 on my scratch paper, I'm going to put a 0 on the 0 foot line for elevation. There is no 0 on this side, so I don't put a dot. Then I scoot up to the 10. I put a dot where there's a 10 elevation on this side and a 10 elevation on this side. Now we have one on both sides. Then I scoot my paper up to 20. Right above the 20 dash, I put a dot. Right above the 20 dash over here, I put a dot. Then I go up to the 30 line. On the 30 line, I'm going to put a dot. On this 30 line, I'm going to put a dot. Then I go up to the 40 line. On the 40 line, I'm going to put a dot. And the 40 line up here, I'll put a dot. And then on the 50 line, one more time, I'm going to put a dot and a dot. Now, you can kind of see the outline of the mountain here, but we're going to draw a line to connect it just to show that. All right. And you notice it's fairly flat at first, but then it starts getting steeper until we get up to 50. Now, this is important. You don't make a flat top. We go past 50, and then we come back down to 50. When you have two dots in a row on a line, you're going to go above it and then come back down to it if you're going up. Then we come back down the other side. The other side is kind of a steady slope.